So we'll launch into this main, I think it's called chorus. I can't play it, but you know the theme. So let's figure out how to actually play it. I like the position marking here. If it were up to me, I would actually go right through to the end of the measure, so I would only focus on doing this. And I typically play these upbeat pieces more detached rather than legato, so I wouldn't be playing it like this. Right, with a very heavy legato in the left hand, more like this. And this allows me to let go of the D and then just move on to that E flat in right here in this second measure. But another compromise, if you kind of want to be more prepared than having this jump where you have to move from finger 3 to finger 4 or whatever, maybe play this D note right here with 4, right? Then you would play this with 4 and this with 2, right? So this is me still going through this bracket extended to about here, and this would allow me to just use the third finger on the E flat where you see the pink line. I don't know, I just find this a little more optimal than having to do this, right, where I'm bringing the fingers over, then moving to 4. If you want to bring the fingers in like this, at least go with 1, 3, 5, and then 4 is right there, then having to move 4 and then 4 here. I mean, I can kind of understand how the logic of these original fingerings might have occurred, but I would really suggest what I'm doing, which is. And this is really almost a single position for the entire line in the left hand, with the only exception is that the second finger has to move from F to G, and that's it. So yeah, I would encourage that kind of thinking. Right, and that figure, the rising and falling figure in the left hand, this brown highlight, it keeps happening over and over and over, so it's a good idea to get used to the best kinds of fingers for it. Okay, so left hand is done. Let's look at the right. Yeah, no problem. Good. 1, 2, 3, 5 makes sense. Yeah, and then here, yeah, I guess you could move to 1 and 3. 2, 3 is another possibility, but either way, what you really have to do in this case as well is detach. I actually like to bring my 3 over to C. That's just my preference. But at this moment where, let's make it purple, you have to jump, right? So it's a big jumping moment. You have to practice it either way, whether you use 2, 3 or 1, 3, doesn't really matter. But I really like this idea. I mean, 4 and 3 obviously fit C and B flat in that sign highlight just fine, but 4 and 5, 4, 3 is just a weaker combination of fingers, and this is a very rhythmic piece, right? Or if we use that finger 4 idea, you want to feel as strongly as you can when you play through this rhythmic unison. And then this is the practice jump that you just have to stop and practice. So let's do that. Let's stop and practice. But yeah, I'm going to suggest, not as some sort of you must do it suggestion, but an idea. bring 3 over to this C. And if you look later, I'll circle it just a second, right here, right here, at the very end of the line, 3-2, right? Those same fingers, strong fingers, 3-2. So that kind of matches. Okay, so the purple jump. I need to be right here. Yeah, I mean, I guess 1-3-3-5 makes sense, no problems. Once you're in this position, you can go through the rest of measure 2, but getting there is important, so you go back here, pink, highlight, and then you do this. Again, pink, highlight, and then you do this. So that feeling of shaping in the E flat, G, B flat position in the right hand, very important. You kind of want to be able to do it with your eyes closed. There it is. I'm gonna put in a third finger between these two black keys, feeling those two black keys under 1 and 5, right? Alright, so once you've done it a couple of times, there it is, and then you can actually do the full jump and press the notes down. Once you're in that position, again, if you like my fingers, put 3 here. Well, that's the wrong rhythm, right? That's the right rhythm. And of course, if you put it all together, it's this. Boom, 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 boom. Just a bunch of straight eighth notes. You know, you're just keeping that pulse going until you come out of that measure back into basically the first measure, except you drop that whole rise up to the top D. You go right to D, and if it were up to me, I would just move my hand and not worry about that. I mean, you can cross over the thumb, there is no harm in doing that, but if it were up to me, I would just do this. Just jump. So I'm shaping that to 4, 3, 2, and then you can kind of see on that second line, right hand 1 and 3. I'm already in position to do it. But then of course, I would have the jump. Yeah. It doesn't really matter. It's just, if you're going to play 1, I would encourage you to throw the fingers over such that 3 and 2 are ready, rather than 3, right? So it's a particular way of playing 1, right? As you play it, fingers are over 1 like this. So that's where I would remind myself to do something like this, roughly speaking. Right, just a reminder that this is a different way of pressing the note than just simply pressing down the finger. This is one way, this is a different way. Or maybe even like that. Yeah. Fingers across the thumb. Okay, 4th finger. Now, on the next line, if you do this 3-2, like I was suggesting earlier, yeah, okay, now you have to move 3 over to this F, not a 2, 3, come on. Now you have to move, okay, I'm completely screwing it up. Apologies, let's go back up here. 2, followed by a 4. Okay, so instead of that 2 on F, I need to place 3 on F. Right here. But it's a relatively short jump. Now, if you do bring over the whole hand, then you don't have to play, you don't have to jump. So that's why that initial fingering kind of makes sense, right? Except I'm continuing to now use 5-4-2-1 that I'm so enamored with. So, as I said in the very beginning, I can see the reason for why this squeeze in the middle of the brown shape makes sense. I personally would work on except because this is quite a long jump, I would replace 3 with a 4. Right, and just use 3 on the low note in between measures, between the brown shapes. Right, but otherwise it's the same exact idea. Okay, let's try to work through the fingers in the second line. And I'll go ahead and work through the rest of those brown shapes with the original fingerings, just so we can look at both possibilities. So therefore, it's still 4 here, and then I need to be right here. Nice shape there. Again, you have to move back here, so let's draw that in. Pink highlight, and let's do another purple. There it is. Right, so as I'm playing that fast F in the first measure of this line, I'm moving the left hand. So here is the pink highlight. I'm ready. Before that, right, as I play this F, I'll circle it. This pink highlight happens. Right, and again, if you're going for 5-3-2-1, you do this shape. Right, so very twitchy jumps until they become more and more automated. All right, let's go back further. So I'm holding that A and C. Let's circle it or highlight it yellow. Holding it down. Right, so I'm building it up. Jump, I'm always checking I'm doing the jump. Maybe, I don't know. For some reason, I still think that there is an advantage to using 5-4-2-1 either way, regardless of how you proceed from there. But 3 is also nice. I mean, you know, with advanced pieces, there are always multiple fingering choices. There it is. And then finally, maybe back up a little more right here to this A and C. And then holding those A and C in both hands, right? And then I'm going, or if I go to 5-4-2-1, I do this. Either way, I'm building up into this important pink jump until I feel, yeah, it's happening. I'm not as stressed out about this position change. In the purple highlight, kind of the same thing. I need to be here. There it is. So I'm holding this A and C in the beginning of the measure, and then I'm doing a jump. So difficult jump in the beginning of the measure for the right hand, kind of tricky jump in the end of the measure for the left hand. Let's move on. By the way, notice this cyan highlight starts with finger 5, which is a big jump to here, and it makes absolute sense, doesn't it? 5, 4, 3, 2, and then 1. I'm set for this entire, let me find my bracket shape. There it is. Yeah, that entire sequence of 5 notes is prepared, but again, I don't see why we cannot use the same logic and therefore just go ahead and jump here. 5 or 4, whatever. I would actually do 4 here. Yeah, nothing wrong with jumps, nothing wrong with crossing over the fingers, but sometimes I just find a direct jump, preparing the position ahead of time, is more advantageous than doing and then crossing fingers over and then adjusting the position later. Sometimes it makes things more complicated than necessary. Alright, so we've done this. Let's go to that first cyan highlight right here. Okay, this is where I wish my touch screen was a little more sensitive. Let's go right from there. There it is. I don't know. What about a compromise? What about a compromise? So let's pull in the fingers so that the second measure, or in between measures between those brown shapes, are easier. They're kind of ready. But what if we went to 1, 3, 5? Yeah, let's just work through this. 1, 3, 5. Then, of course, here we get a 4. Perfect. No problems. Then, let's get rid of those two for the end of the line and put in 3 and 5 there as well. Okay, like this. So then, on F is 3. And that's what we get here, a 3. All you have to do is extend your 1 and 2 to A and C. Like this. And another jump. Again, pull in with 3, 5. Yeah. And then 4, just the same way as it's already shown. So, you might say the disadvantage of what I'm suggesting is now I'll circle it. Here we get a 4, but here we get a 3. Whereas before we always had 4 on the bottom in these in-between measures, as I'm calling them. Now I have 2 different fingers, but then I think the positioning is a little more optimized. I don't know. I always like to give suggestions for possibilities, and of course anyone watching this can make their own decisions. So let's make sure this shape, this one right here, is shaped correctly. And then all I'm doing is walking through those notes nice and slow. But notice the slur ends at the end of that first cyan highlight, so it's separated. So that downbeat with G and E flat, very clear. A little daylight in there, a little gap. Something. By the way, I should have extended this further, right? Because it's the same exact position. So perfect. Right, I'm just playing what's under my fingers. How nice is that? So the important part is getting here to let's show those highlights and then move on. First one would be here. It's another pink. Let's choose indigo. There it is. And another important highlight, if you go with the suggested fingerings, as opposed to what I was going on and on about at the beginning of this video, would be running out of colors. Let's do green. This. Can you see it? So there's an indigo and there's a green. Lots of colors. I do admit a bit of a modern art exhibition. So that's the first jump, right? The indigo. And I'm making it right on that D in my left hand. And I'm not shaping it right, am I? It should be this. stopping and I'm checking that the jump occurred. Then I can back up maybe. Alright, so holding that F, the one that I circled with black. Just doing that jump until I've learned it. Now the green, if I'm here, that's what I'm doing. 3, 5. Then of course, that's how I want to be. But before it, I'm like this, right? So all I'm doing is this. I'm like this, and now I'm like this. In fact, I should move green to here. Right, so let's hold F2. And then as I play that accented one, right, I'm pulling my fingers in and shaping that 3, 5. Oh, but I cannot go all the way back, so D, finger 3, right, again, just always pulling it in, and I should be playing finger 5 in the right hand, of course. Right, I'm concentrating on getting this transition just right. Then finally the downbeat is this. And this is where it gets tricky. Big jump on the indigo, important pull in on the green, has to be perfect. Right, see, I didn't land my right hand with finger 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1 ready to go. One more time. Okay, barely made it. Feels uncomfortable, which is why, as I keep saying in all these videos, don't try to practice these jumps all at once. Do one jump, do another jump completely separately, just to get it in your brain. Maybe the following day, in a few days, it becomes possible to put it all together, right? Because we have pink highlight jump where we have to move. Either way you finger it. My way, the original way that was shown, you still have to move. So pink move, indigo move, and then a green pull in. So lots of moves. There it is. See, what did I do with my right hand? What is this? Well, what this is me thinking back to this transition, right? Where I'll circle it. Right, I'm thinking about this moment where I'm going to A and C, and of course that makes me screw up this indigo transition, which is different. Right, so there's that jump. Therefore, just focus on what the brain allows you to do at the moment. All right, I'm not going to do that last measure in this line. It plays itself. Right, and then let's think about the left hand fingering in that first measure here. If I just go with the naturally positioned finger, I get to a 3, right? And that's actually what I suggested doing up here. Circle, this one. But we cannot do that, right? Because we have a bigger chord. And then the left hand plays this special horn-like harmony. So-called golden motion. So no really easy solution to this. I kind of like what's shown, the 2 brackets that says here's one position, then extend it, another position, and then it kind of naturally brings the 3rd finger over to B flat, and there you are. So I'm going to go with these fingers. I don't think there is anything better to suggest. Yes, you could do this, but it's a bit of an awkward transition to go from here to this. Right, you have to prepare all 4 notes all of a sudden very quickly this way. just move to 3 notes, and then you extend. So you solve the complicated problem by breaking it up into 2 smaller problems. In this case, it probably works nicely. So let's think about it. Right, so what we're dealing with in this right hand passage is moving between A and B flat with finger 3. And then you can kind of see what happens a little later in the right hand. Staccato dots. But while this only has one important jump right here, I think I accidentally added a purple. All the things I don't need right now. Hold on just one sec. Alright, so there's only one nasty purple jump, as I'll call it. Let me get rid of this. Delete, yes. Only one nasty jump. In the same time, there are lots of little adjustments that make this line a bit annoying to play. Let's look at the right hand by itself. Now you don't see it across the line break, but if we just adjust it slightly, you need to pull the thumb in over to G from F, right? So at some point it has to happen. I would do it right there. So that's one little adjustment, and I'll show it right here. Well, maybe I'll make it yellow. This little yellow. And maybe I would even go to 2 on A, so 2 little adjustment. F, A flat, 1, 2, A, G, G, A, 1, 2. There it is. No. There. Yellow highlight. That's what I'm needing to do. I was here, now I need to be here. Okay. So that's one little thing to automate. Prior to that, I'm on 3 is on A, and instantly on B flat. So that's another little pesky little detail right here. Let's highlight it green. Okay, there it is. And then that yellow highlight. That's the right hand. What about the left hand? That. Let's make that pink. And then a little, let's make it brown. And then the jump. So, yeah, no big jumps, but pink, followed by green, followed by this orange, followed by yellow and purple. Those little details are still going to trip you up. So in other words, if all I had to do was, right, if I was in one position and that's all I had to play, somehow magically all the notes were correct, I would be fine. Instead, and then of course there's another jump to something really massive, which I shouldn't ignore. So let's, no more colors. What about deep red there? So actually that's probably the worst part about this line I'm working on, but at least I have a big rest, so even if I don't land there right away, I have time to adjust my fingers. Whatever the fingers are on the next line. So yeah, yellow, purple, red, that's the worst measure. That really is in terms of coordination. The nice thing there is rhythm calms down a bit, there's a rest, so it doesn't seem as agitated as all that fast moving rhythm before it, but still sufficiently hard to coordinate. So if it's up to me, I practice from the end. I'm in position here. I have to figure out what my fingers are. Let's say I'm happy with that 5-3-2-2-3-1 in the left hand across the line break. So I'm shaping this here. I'm shaping my right hand position. I'm good. Okay, now 5 on that accent. Boom. Do that a bunch of times. Boom. Yeah. And then finally, I need to do right before. I'm on purple highlight. I'm right before that accent. So I'm doing that already in position with my right hand, and I just have to do this. Oh, tricky. There it is. Okay. And then finally, I'm just before the yellow highlight, and I've got this whole thing to jump and prepare. Now this is getting really tricky. So this is where, nope, not going to go into the red. I'm just going to do the purple and stop. That's it. Maybe a crisper staccato. Crisper staccato. There it is. Not letting go of that D for some reason. Sticky fifth finger. Yeah, so that's not easy. But what's kind of nice is if I think about the yellow and purple as two connected jumps, then I just do them together. And then check that, okay, right hand is correct, left hand is on B flat, good. And then the red jump is separate. Okay, so I hope that shows that this is in a way the hardest measure to practice in this. Second, the middle measure, very easy. Until you get across the bar line, right? One more time. Why is it easy? I'm in position, both hands. All I have to do is press those two notes in each hand at the same time. Now, you know, if the fingers are weak, like 3 and 5, they tend to be weaker. It might take a little more effort. Just bend them, right? There it is. You can kind of see how much my fifth finger has to bend. And you can see I'm stopping right before the bar line, so I don't even have to worry about practicing my yellow and purple jumps. Okay. And then finally the whole measure. Okay, so all I'm focusing on is bending those fingers, giving energy into those keys, not worried about the jumps at all. Totally different kind of practice. But then the first measure, with all those little adjustments, the brown, the green, extension and the pink. Right? So I'm at the brown right now. I'm just holding position. And then, right, I'm holding that chord right before the brown. And then I'm letting go to be in position for the next measure. And then finally, right, always stopping on that brown, the position change. So at green. Yeah, so not too difficult, but still, if the brown doesn't happen, it sends a cascade down to the second measure where you are not in control, you're panicking, and what is a really easy measure becomes hard just because you're not ready. Stop. Because the yellow and purple. Okay, and then the pink is a little bit tricky, but not too bad. again, I would recommend thinking about pink and green as a coordinated, a synchronized jump, synchronized position change right here. So I'm holding that A, I'm holding that 1-3 AC, okay, and then I'm just doing this. Ooh, actually, let's press the D. Right, and as I press D, I'm aware that I've jumped. There it is. Yeah. So instead of having separate highlights indicating my jumps, I'm kind of thinking those two together, then a little brown, then nothing, then yellow, violet or purple again together, and then the red. So that brings it down to just 4 steps as opposed to 6. All right, hope that helped. Let's look at this. Coming up to the end of this page. Yeah, they're all similar motifs, but they're all sufficiently different to make the practice different. I was just seeing if I could steal any ideas from previously. I guess not. Another perfect measure. If you're in position, it plays itself. That piano is important, probably, because no dynamic indications, but the last dynamic on the previous page, you can barely see it, it's forte. So I've been playing it pretty loud, but here, all of a sudden, sorry, there it is. All of a sudden the piano. So I would really exaggerate it. I can't even play it. Okay, slowly. Right, make sure it's a controlled piano dynamic. Okay, but what I'm trying to drive at is from up here, that cyan or that yellow positioning should really indicate for our hand total preparation for this first measure. Let me circle it. Yeah, nope, circled the wrong thing. This is what I was trying to circle. Yeah, we should not have to move the right hand positioning at all. And as you can see, I can play the entire line in the right hand without having to move. That's great, great fingerings. And in the left hand, that's the first move. So let's show it with indigo. And then maybe using brown, I would do it right here. Don't hold F all the way through, play it detached. As I play that A, right here, I'm moving in the left hand. Yeah, I think the last measure is just fine, just a slight finger 1 adjustment, and you want to do it as you play D. So let's show it right here. And since you have to move the thumb, even though it's just one finger, one little motion, still work on it. There it is. Okay. So if I'm playing that first measure, piano, I can get all the way to here before the... Look at what I'm doing. Having a completely wrong position. One more time. So I get to right before the indigo. I'm good. I don't have to do anything, just press the notes. But at the indigo, as I play that chord, can't do it. So let's just start at indigo. That's the position. Therefore, that's what I need. Right, so I'm just backing up always stopping. Always checking that my left hand did this. I think I was going too far inside the keys. Yeah, there is no reason to do it because the thumb never has to play a black key, so I can keep it here. Yeah, so that makes the adjustment of the position much easier. So indigo is my stopping point. As long as I can reliably do this shift in the left hand, I'm good. Then continuing from the indigo, now I'm going to stop on that B flat right before the brown, because as the brown occurs with that A, I want to do this. Okay. Right, again, always stopping on the position shift to make it part of my routine. Somehow it's always easier to C note, press note, C finger, press finger, but all these in-between moments or position adjustments, that since they're not written into the score unless you highlight them like this or do something to remind you to do it, you just don't practice it. That's what we do. It took me a really long time to get to the point where I do it very routinely, like I used to just finger everything routinely, and now I put in position changes with the same frequency as I put in fingers. Okay. Right, that's brown. But then, that's the moment. Let me go ahead and add a little green, just so we have something to discuss. From brown to right before green, I'm good. Just stop right here, but as I play the D on the green, there it is. One more time. I'm on brown, that A. I'm stopping because unless I do this, it's useless practice. It's a useless... If I do this, okay, and then look, did I move my finger one in the left hand? I didn't. Therefore, I've taught myself how to play this passage incorrectly, and I'll always have this struggle to play it smoothly. But brown, right? That moment right here, I'm practicing it correctly, therefore I'm building up the right smoothness down the road. Right, because first, until those adjustments, those position jumps, whatever extensions are integrated into my flow, there is no real reason to try to play at speed without stopping. Now, I don't really talk about this other aspect in these videos too much, but of course you can play at the right speed, but then you have to accept the fact you will not be hitting the right notes. For example, right, I'm just going to keep that beat going and my fingers flounder, I'm not getting the positions right. So if you can do that kind of practice, great, then don't panic, just accept the wrong notes. But if you have to get the right notes, then stop and do the right position adjustments before you even try to play the full thing non-stop. Of course, the other thing is play it very slowly. Let's start correctly. But even with that, you can see I'm slightly panicking. I kind of want to just stop, relax, check my position, and then go on. So instead of being very slow, it's more like slow and stop practice. That's what I would recommend. But you could kind of see me as I was walking through it slowly. I was still making the position adjustments very rapidly. So as I'm coming up on the highlight, boom, I am set. I can continue going, and so on and so forth. Okay, let's finish this real quick. This penultimate line, reasonably easy, back in position. So where do I change it? Right here. Let's do a brown. Yeah, basically imagine that there is a quarter note rest during which you do both things. Sorry, I was playing that as an E flat in the left hand. Should be an E natural. There it is. So that's the hardest part about this line. 2 position adjustments. Checking a couple of things. Yep, finger consistency is good. Good. And then of course these 2 measures come right out of what happened before. It's a little hard to coordinate, so I'll zoom out. Luckily, I think the iPad stopped misbehaving. Okay. Yes? No? Not quite. Yeah, sorry. Very big zoom out. All I'm trying to do is show you something, and then I'll go to big zoom. So purple highlight right here corresponds to this. Yeah, let's do deep blue highlight right here corresponds to this. Yeah, and that's it. So long as you're aware of this correspondence, I don't need to go over those 2 measures separately. Therefore, let's look at the very last line on this page. Okay, so if you're doing the first time repeat, you need to reposition 4 up an octave. So if you go to that first page, which you can barely see in this grayed out way, you need to move this up here. So make sure to practice this motion. And then it's the exact same thing here. So it's basically another 2 brown highlights because they're identical in terms of fingers. Although I see that there is a 1-3-5 here, and then here I can barely see it. It's a 1-2-5. So something to just be aware of. Okay, in the left hand though, let's zoom back in. Deep red highlight. Just at the very end of that penultimate line in the left hand. Right. Big jump. 1-5. Sure. One possibility, or do what I do, which is 1-3 or 1-4. Just to connect the black note, black key to the white key with a 4-5. But does it matter? Not really. Okay. So that kind of takes care of the whole second page, I think. Here I would definitely do it. Second time measure. Just third is already on B flat, isn't it? So if your hand stretch allows you, try to stretch. If it doesn't, just jump. Maybe try 4. But usually if your 4 can stretch to B flat, so can your third. You just have to deviate in your wrist a little more. Like this. Okay, then I won't go into this section labeled E. It's a different thing. Enjoy this much so far. Fun piece, fun arrangement. Yeah, tricky position adjustments. I should have really done this. Let me do a little green highlight right here. Yeah, so if you're practicing the left hand, the right hand, I mean, make sure that green highlight happens right here. Actually, in both hands, since we discussed. So let's do a big green right here. There it is. If you, whoop, that's it. that's assuming you're okay with the fingerings that I'm suggesting here. If not, then maybe you practice differently. But whatever you do, make sure you do it.